Hi guys, my name is Sam. I'm a developer at Augview and I'm going to show you around Augview's settings. Okay, so here we are in Augview's map display and we're going to go into our settings menu by tapping on the settings cog up in the navigation bar. So here's the setting menu and you'll notice we've got a number of different settings we can access. So we're going to have a look at the map settings first. So here we have two fairly self-explanatory settings, two toggles, one for high quality maps, so you can turn that off if you want lower quality maps, decrease loading time, and you have the zoom buttons here, which if we quickly take a look at the map, are located on the right hand side. So if you feel like they're getting in the way and you want to turn them off, just hit off and you'll notice that they disappear. We also have this reset button down the bottom here, and that will reset the settings for this particular submenu to the default. So if we hit reset and click yes, you'll notice that our zoom buttons are now turned back on. So if we come back out of the map settings into our main settings page, we'll go into augmented reality settings now. So we have a number of different ones here which are not quite as straightforward as the map. The first is lighting, which will increase the brightness of the augmented reality display, so the models and things will appear much brighter if you increase that. Likewise, they'll become darker if you decrease it. Transparency will increase or decrease the transparency of the models, so if you want them a solid colour, you can increase that. If you prefer to be able to see through them more, you can decrease it down to 0. And then we have the visible distance, which sets the distance at which you'll be able to see models. So for instance, that's set at 56 meters at the moment, so it means when you load the augmented reality display, you'll be able to see models within 56 meters of your current position. We also have the high quality video tab, so we can turn that on and off, and we have our layers configuration. This determines the objects that are visible in the augmented reality display. So if we tap on that, you notice we have several sub-layers here. We'll have a quick look at our Augview data, and we have a number of different objects such as pipes, lines and cables with these toggles on the right hand side, so we can turn those on and off. If they're off, those objects will not be visible in the augmented reality display. So we can come back to our main settings menu. Now we're going to have a look at the hardware settings. So here we are in the hardware settings, and you'll notice that the camera comes on, and we can see the model information at our current location. We're in the office at the moment, so this doesn't make a lot of sense, but it'll still be fine for the purposes of this tutorial. So the first setting that we have access to is the compass. This is actually set when you log into Augview based on your current location. It changes the declination. So you shouldn't need to adjust it, but if you do, you can override the declination here. If you notice that the models are floating in the air, you can set the accelerometer calibration. For this you need a flat surface, so we're going to go over here and use the wall. So I've got a flat vertical surface and we need to put this through each orientation. So we'll click calibrate, and you notice that as we go around, each orientation is calibrated. So in order to calibrate, you can just hit anywhere on this calibrate bar. Okay, so that's calibrated once. You've set each 4 of those Augview symbols to blue, and that should help you with floating models. Okay, so the next setting is our camera field of view. So here we can adjust the field of view of the camera. So you notice if we drag this bar, we get a real-time view of how that affects our display. So you can adjust that to what you're happy with. And the next one is user height. So that's in centimeters, and you can adjust the view to your own height. Okay, so the next setting on our list is the generic settings. This has some very straightforward settings. First is the orientation, which allows you to set the orientations that Augview will display in. So here we've got auto rotate, which just means that Augview will rotate into whichever position you're holding the device in. Portrait will lock it to portrait, and landscape will lock it to landscape. The help toggle just turns the help button that you can see here on and off. That's available to you in various other screens around Augview. If you turn the help toggle off, then those help buttons will disappear. We've also got the clear cache button down the bottom here, which will clear any models that you've downloaded into the augmented reality view. Clearing the cache will mean that the app re-downloads them the next time you require them. So next up is the photo setting. So this just has one setting, which is search distance, and this will only be displayed if your app is running with photo association enabled, and it allows you to set the search distance when associating photos from the server. You should check out our photo tutorial for more information on this. The output setting down here is mainly for us developing the app and provides us with debug logs.